All right, we finally did it. We did a full rebuild of the home office and studio. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, this is Desmond. Welcome back to the channel. I make content about tech and travel gear. And honestly, it's been a while since I've done a full rebuild of my home office and studio. I started this channel back during the pandemic, and since then I haven't made any major changes to my desk or my cabinets or basically anything over the last several years. So today we are doing a complete overhaul of the office. So I've been thinking about the home office rebuild for a while now. The current setup has gotten a bit messy, years of just filming and working, things pile up. It just doesn't get cleaned or organized as often, so I was looking to kind of start from scratch. And that's where this company, Vernal, comes in. They make standing desks, they make office cabinets, drawers, desks, accessories, and all the things that I needed to really revamp the entire setup here. And lucky for me, and thank you to everyone that supports this channel, Vernal was able to send all of this gear over for me to install and test. With that said, though, it does not impact what I'm going to say about the Vernal products. There are some definite pros and there's a lot of good about this, but there is some bad, and I'm going to share that with you as well. This isn't a DIY channel, so let's quickly breeze through the build of all this so I can start to talk about the quality and the functionality. But they sent me over one of their standing desks. This is a 60 by 30. Honestly, assembly was pretty easy because most of this desk comes pre-assembled. So the motorized legs, and then of course it's really just one flat slate of wood. All of that connects together very quickly. You've got the button, you wire it up, and then your standing desk is basically ready to go. This probably took the least amount of time of the other products that they sent over. What else they sent was the tall filing cabinet. This I really like and really use. It comes in that matching walnut color. One thing that I will say, and again, I want to be honest, this is not real walnut, especially not on the filing cabinet. It is kind of your classic IKEA style, IKEA quality wood with a walnut finishing on top. And that's also true of the assembly process. So if you've ever put together IKEA furniture with the little wood pieces, tiny screws, simple but long instructions, that's exactly what this entire experience is like. So if you've built anything from IKEA before, that's exactly what it's like here. It's also one of the reasons why they probably are able to keep the price down. This isn't particularly expensive furniture comparatively. So you're also looking at relatively equivalent prices. But I will say, having built the full filing cabinet, everything looks great, it works great. The soft close and soft open is something that I enjoy a lot. And also, for this office, for what I do, all the products, all the content that I'm creating, I just need storage. So the more places I can put gear that people send me to review or that I buy to review, the better. And then the other piece, which is probably one of my favorites other than the standing desk, is the tall Vernal side cabinet. So you may be able to see it here. I've kind of popped it into the back as a part of the studio setup now. But I really like it because, again, so much storage in this thing. Assembly was not quick. It did take me a couple of hours by myself, but it wasn't hard. It's just a lot of different pieces. It is an IKEA style, like I've mentioned before, type of process. Little wooden pieces, tiny little screws, putting everything together, kind of piece by piece. It is, again, not real walnut. It is plywood, with a walnut finishing on top. Again, it's not particularly heavy once you've finished it either, because it's not real walnut. That's a very heavy and dense type of wood. This is mostly made out of that IKEA style plywood, which for the purposes of this home office and the studio is perfectly fine because it sits in place, it doesn't go through a lot of abuse, and really what I'll show you later how I use this is it's for storage. I review a ton of bags on this channel. A lot of bags stored in there beautifully out of sight, and it really helps bring the office back to an organized state. So those are just the 3 pieces that required the most amount of assembly, the desk and the 2 cabinets. Everything else was very, very simple. So let's start walking through each of those, and I'll talk about some of the smaller accessories first. Let's go ahead and just start with the desk setup. This is what I'm actually sitting at right now. You're not going to notice a huge difference looking through this particular angle, but let's take a look at the desk. It is 60 by 30 in size. I have this in the dark walnut color, which I really, really like. Overall, I think the quality is great. I mentioned it came almost entirely pre-assembled. The legs, all you had to do was mount the tabletop to the legs, finish up the wiring, you were basically good to go. Generally speaking, the quality is great. One thing to note, the quality of the tabletop versus the filing cabinet and the side cabinet are completely different. This is a very dense, solid piece of wood. It is not made out of plywood as far as I can tell. This is a very solid tabletop, which makes the most sense. This is the thing that is going to take the most amount of wear and tear. It's going to get the most amount of use. Apparently this desk can hold up to 350 pounds. You can watch other YouTube channels where people are sitting and standing on their desks. I'm a grown-up. I'm not going to do that. But I will take their word for it. It holds my laptop. It holds all of the things that I need on this desk. You don't need me to sit on this to prove how strong it is, but it will hold 350 pounds, apparently. The other thing that I will say is this is the standard option. It also comes in an L shape. I just don't have enough or want to use that much space in my home office studio for that. So there's really not much else to say about the shape of this desk other than it's a standard desk. But I've mentioned it a few times, the motorized legs, it's because this is a standing desk. And the best thing about this, if you've ever used a standing desk before, is it has the 4 memory options. So you can choose 4 different heights and you can set those for your regular day use, which I already do. It's very smooth and easy to work up and down, and then once you've got those memory buttons set, you're pretty much good to go. You've also got a lock button so you can lock it in its current height, which is also great. Now in terms of desk accessories to make the experience a little bit more organized, I had Vernal send me their desktop shelf, the long one, which again, I really, really like this. The quality of the wood is much better than that of the filing cabinet. It's thick, it's solid, but it provides just aesthetics. It's in the matching dark walnut. I use a monitor mount, so I don't have to place anything on top of it. But I just use it as a place to store cables. My laptop sits under there when it's plugged into the monitor. I've got a few other tech peripherals for editing, my desk light, all the different things that I don't want on the desktop itself, I can place into this desktop drawer area. Moving along, the other piece that I really like, and not everyone has to get it because I don't know who really uses something like this anymore, but it is the keyboard drawer, or it's a drawer for this desk. It goes right under this section here. It pulls out with felt, and this is where you can put your keyboard and your mouse, and also it flips down so you can actually use it as a place to work. It's interesting, I haven't seen something like this since the 90s, like those little keyboard trays, but I actually do find myself using it at times when I want to raise the desk up a bit so that the desk chair can slide a bit closer. I will go ahead and use this slide out shelf or drawer. And when I'm not using it, if I'm using the desk for other things like building a watch or building models or doing anything where I mostly want the desktop, I can place the keyboard, mouse, and other peripherals in the drawer and tuck them away. That gives me the entire space on top of the desk to work with. And finally, before we move on to the drawers, let's just talk about cable management. I'm going to give you guys a very realistic view of the cable management in my office, which is that there isn't any, and I kind of like the way that Vernal does theirs. Underneath the desk is just a metal kind of tin / box where you dump everything in. This is also a home studio, so I'm running XLR cables, I'm running HDMI cables, and phantom power to the cameras. I've got lights set up. There's no aesthetic or easy way to cable manage this, right? This isn't one of those channels where you're just not gonna see a single cable and everything is perfectly lit. I work from home. This is a YouTube studio at the same time. There are gonna be cables everywhere. They are much more organized and they are much cleaner, but there is no perfect cable management in this office, and I just wanna be real with you about that. So with that said, I like the Vernal approach to cable management, which is just like hide everything behind this metal tray and you can dump all of your power bricks and all your stuff behind it. And I will say it has cleaned up most of my cables because all the peripherals that I'm plugging into my laptop, my monitor light, all of that is quietly hidden away. Things that I'm plugging into the camera and the lights and powering all of the things for the studio, well, you can't tuck that under a desk, or I don't know how to. Camera sits over here. But that's it. So with the additional filing cabinet and the side cabinet, the office overall feels a lot better. I like the quality of both the filing cabinet and the side cabinet. As I mentioned, they are mostly made out of plywood. Most of this office came from IKEA in the past, so I'm pretty familiar with this type of wood. It's not something I beat up. Most of it is here for aesthetics and storage, right? It's a part of the YouTube studio backdrop. It's there to hold things. I haven't found any issues with it. So let's start with the filing cabinet. I went with the taller one because I like the desk to be a little bit taller. I want the filing cabinet to be able to kind of match the height that I'm used to. Also, the more storage, the better. So the tall version has deeper cabinets. Mostly I just keep a lot of the tech peripherals, portable batteries, little pouches, tiny tech accessories, things that brands send me to review and test. They usually go into these filing cabinets out of the way versus kind of piling up in a corner. The other nice thing you'll find about the filing cabinet and the side cabinet is they both have a lock for the bottom drawer. So if there's anything in there that's dangerous or sensitive or you want to keep private, you can go ahead and lock that up. And of course, a filing cabinet, you can put files in it. I don't have that much paper-based documentation these days. So I just use it to store all of the tech peripherals on the smaller side. And the way that it's set up in the office currently, I also use this as a place to mount my main studio camera as well as my headphones. It's worked out pretty perfectly. This is a great and stable place to have my FX3. And the other nice thing is when I set the desk to standing, I can just raise the tripod to match the angle. And finally, let's talk about probably my favorite piece. Not that I don't love a good standing desk. It's this side cabinet back there. I got the tall version, so what you'll notice is, of course, we've got two large cabinets on the bottom, and you have an additional platform or shelving area on top, and that gives it its height. It's in the matching dark walnut like everything else I've ordered from Vernal. And the best thing is these shelves on top are great. They're relatively shallow. There's two of them, both on the left and right. I use them for camera accessories, any of my small camera tech like mics, filters. On the other side, I will just, again, keep tiny peripherals, cables, things that I need, batteries, all of that stuff. Underneath, though, if you guys have been a fan of this channel or seen anything on the channel before, you know I review a lot of bags. This is a great place for me to store a lot of those bags that I've reviewed. This is a really deep cabinet, and I enjoy it a lot. So helpful for this office. It gets a lot of the bags off the floor or out of random places into somewhere that is organized and, again, keeps the whole office feeling clean and aesthetic. And finally, the other thing to mention I keep forgetting is this chair. This is actually also one of the office chairs from Vernal that they sent over. I've gone ahead and removed the included headrest, which I will say is very comfortable, but I've removed it for the purposes of making YouTube videos because it kind of gets in the way. It's just a weird thing that's sticking out of my head. But overall, I really like this chair. Assembly, again, very, very easy. You just kind of plug the wheels into the prongs at the bottom, and then you plug in the base to the chair itself, and you're basically done. The headrest, again, which I really enjoy, is very comfortable and very easy to install and remove. And then of course you have all the different methods of adjusting. So the amount of lean, the height, the armrests, all of that is completely adjustable. I will say overall the chair feels a tiny bit flimsy, but not dissimilar from some of the nicer Herman Miller office chairs that I've used before. I mean, there's always some give in the armrest. It's just a part of the mechanics of being able to kind of shift around and click and change. These things aren't designed to be very solid because everything should be adjustable and movable. So there's always a little bit of give. In this, I noticed that, but not too much. Mostly just in the armrests. Those jiggle around a bit, but they're built on some type of teeth-based locking mechanism. And of course, if you're not bored of this video already, I've also bought some dark walnut accessories from Amazon to just round out the look and feel of this whole setup. This was already a long video. It was really just to give you an idea of the products that I'm using to rebuild the home office. Of course, there's going to be some personalization and some other things that I'll be adding in as I continue to clean this up. We'll do a full office tour once everything is done. I know I haven't done one of those for the channel. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, drop a note in the comments below and I'd be happy to do a full office tour. Take a look at the Vernal website. They are doing their big summer blowout, summer sale, whatever it is. You're going to get a pretty hefty discount on these already relatively affordable office pieces. Depends on what you're looking for. For me, I wanted something functional, relatively good quality, but aesthetic, because most of this office is used for filming. The desk itself, that's where all the work happens, so this is really high quality. Everything else is just really about aesthetics and storage. So take a look at their site. The prices, again, are pretty solid. I'll leave descriptions. I'll leave links in the description below. But if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more just like this. I will catch y'all in the next one.